Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I am EJ Gonzalez. It's Saturday, April 13, 2024, here in the nation's capital. The week's recap begins with the historic Trilateral Summit of the United States, Philippines, and Japan here in Washington, a reinforcement of the three countries' alliance aimed to secure, improve, and advance life in the Indo-Pacific region. Jeff Sanidad has that story.
The much-anticipated Trilateral Summit between the U.S., Philippines, and Japan has now concluded here at the White House in Washington, D.C. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., U.S. President Joe Biden, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida discussed strategies that all three countries will implement to further the alliance of the three countries.
Today, we mark a historic moment. The first ever Leaders Summit between the United States, Japan, and the Philippines. And it's truly an honor to have you both here as we begin this new era of a partnership.
The President mentions that there are three key areas where the three nations are deepening ties today. First, technology and clean energy.
For securing our semiconductor supply chain, to expanding trusted telecommunications in the Philippines, to building the clean energy workforce, to expanding our cooperation across the entire board.
Second, by deepening maritime and security ties in the region.
And I want to be clear, the United States defense commitments to Japan and to the Philippines are ironclad. They're ironclad. As I've said before, any attack on Philippine aircraft, vessels, or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke our Mutual Defense Treaty.
Third key area that Biden mentions is the first economic charter in the Philippines and in the Indo-Pacific as part of the G7's partnership in global infrastructure investments.
I'm proud to announce we're launching an economic charter in the Philippines as part of the G7's partnership for global infrastructure and investment. This is the first charter in the Indo-Pacific. It means more jobs for people across the entire region. It means more investment in sectors critical to our future: clean energy, ports, railroads, agriculture, and much more.
Meanwhile, Marcos says the summit is a shared vision of a stable, peaceful Indo-Pacific. He says it is a partnership for and not out of convenience nor of expediency.
But this meeting can be just a beginning. Facing the complex challenges of our time requires concerted efforts on everyone's part, a dedication to a common purpose, and an unwavering commitment to the rules-based international order. We seek to identify ways of growing our economies and making them more resilient, climate-proofing our cities and our societies, sustaining our development progress, and forging a peaceful world for the next generation. Today's summit is an opportunity to define the future that we want and how we intend to achieve it together.
Japan's Fumio says, amid this world that faces complex crises, multi-layered cooperation with allies and like-minded countries is important.
Japan, the U.S., and the Philippines are maritime nations connected by the Pacific Ocean and are natural partners. We share fundamental values and principles and have supported regional economic development. In order to secure peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific, I hope to reaffirm our intention to further strengthen trilateral cooperation and to present the specific way forward through today's meeting.
Philippine Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo meets with his Japanese counterpart Kamikawa Yoko here in Washington ahead of the trilateral meeting between President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., U.S. President Joe Biden, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida at the White House. Manalo says this meeting with Japan comes at an opportune time to go over the progress of the two countries' relationship since they last met in December and to plan on strengthening it further. Meanwhile, Kamikawa says the Japanese government is open to discussing ways to further deepen international cooperation with the Philippines and the U.S. She mentions the power of layers and layers of cooperation among the U.S., Philippines, and Japan in securing international order and economic development in the region. As the Trilateral Summit concludes, a renewed and stronger alliance between the Philippines, the U.S., and Japan has been reaffirmed as the three countries move forward in dealing with issues concerning the Indo-Pacific region. These include furthering the region's economy as the three nations commit to deeper cooperation. From the White House, here in Washington, D.C., Jeff Sanidad for Net 25 News.
In a related story, earlier this week, National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby spoke to the Philippine media delegation to the Trilateral Summit. Kirby assures the Philippines that as long as Biden is Commander-in-Chief, it can rely on the President's full support in fulfilling the United States treaty commitments to the Philippines. Kirby adds that the cooperation among the U.S., Philippines, and Japan will be taken into new heights.
The leaders will announce new initiatives to accelerate and surge high-quality infrastructure investment in the Philippines,
to enhance energy security, to deepen maritime cooperation, and to strengthen partnerships on technology and on cybersecurity. Our three countries embark on this new era of trilateral cooperation as trusted, equal partners, guided by shared values and an unwavering commitment to a free, open, peaceful, prosperous Indo-Pacific.
Amid growing tension in the South China Sea and the four-nation maritime patrol by the US, Philippines, Australia, and Japan, Kirby says China has no reason to overreact.
And I can't speak for the PRC reaction one way or another, except to say there's no reason to overreact to this. This is about freedom of navigation. It's about adherence to international law. It's about proving the simple point that we and our allies will fly, sail, and operate wherever international law permits us to do. And it does in the South China Sea, and we did.
Meanwhile, Philippine Ambassador Jose Romualdez emphasizes the importance and significance of the historic Trilateral Summit. Romualdez says the Philippine president has always believed in multilateral approaches to any issues surrounding challenges faced in the Indo-Pacific region.
Aside from the defense strategies that we have put in place with our partners and friends and allies, the economic cooperation, the enhancement of our economic cooperation with Japan and the United States is just as important. This is probably on top of mind for the president because he feels that economic prosperity means economic security for our country.
In other news, a rare total eclipse carved a path through North America. Millions of people viewed what some have described as once-in-a-lifetime event. Texas Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio was in the path of totality as she attended an eclipse watch party in Killeen. Here's the report.
Scenes like this played out all over North America, with people hoping to catch a glimpse of the 2024 solar eclipse. Here in Killeen, Texas, residents are especially excited. For Killeen resident Jennifer Valerio, hosting an eclipse watching party was a way to enjoy this celestial event with family and friends.
This is not only our birthday party, me and my mom's, but we wanted to time it with the eclipse. So why not? You know, every 20 years and it's so much fun, all nature, and it's happening right now.
The eclipse's roughly 115-mile or 185-kilometer path of totality made its way directly over this Texas town. Only in the path of totality, which started in Mazatlan, Mexico, and made its way through 15 U.S. states, did the moon fully cover the sun. In Killeen, for 4 minutes and 15 seconds, the skies darkened, making the middle of the day seem like dusk or dawn. With the next total solar eclipse for North America scheduled for April 23, 2044, the rare chance to see a total eclipse has drawn visitors to places like Killeen.
I am from San Francisco Bay Area, and I came to Killeen, Texas because my friend invited me to watch the solar eclipse with her and her friends. And at first, so I prepared to come. I tried to book a flight and I did not realize how difficult it was going to be just to travel here. I fly standby, so it took me about 3 flights before I was able to get on one because everybody traveling to Texas, the flights were very, very crowded and everybody was coming to see the eclipse.
So, did the eclipse live up to the hype?
So I've never experienced watching an eclipse before, so I didn't know what to expect. And at first you're like, is it happening? Like, I don't really see anything. But once the sky went completely dark, at the time they predicted that it would, about like 1:36, 1:37, 1:38, we were in complete darkness. And that's when I knew, like, wow, this is legit. And so it was amazing. I just thought, wow, this is once in a lifetime event. So I was happy to experience it.
It's 1:30 in the afternoon. It feels like it's 9 o'clock at night. Exciting. It's a unique experience. Very
Is it
exciting.
exactly what you expected?
Yes, and then some.
The exciting part is it's dark now, but the light is about to shine.
It's getting darker like a nighttime. Now it's like very bright, like a morning time.
I'm waking up.
It actually seemed like something out of a movie, something in Star Wars or something like that. It's phenomenal, very phenomenal. It got to be instant darkness, and then the sensor lights popped on around the house. It was just kind of weird, and I was thinking about the animals and how they reacted to it as well. So, but for the crowd that gathered today to watch it, I mean, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. I just thank God that I was able to witness it. You know, at my age, right now I'm 77 years old. Up front, you're able to see it real good with these glasses on. And it's just a joy to sit out here with amongst all my friends and the people that are gathered here today to watch it.
In Killeen, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
The World Health Organization sounds the alarm that more and more people die of hepatitis every year. With 1.3 million deaths per year, the disease is the second leading infectious cause of death globally. Rosel Feria has the details on Health as Well.
The WHO's 2024 Global Hepatitis Report says that each day, there are 3,500 people dying globally due to hepatitis B and C infections. Latest data from close to 190 countries show that the estimated number of deaths from viral hepatitis increased from 1.1 million in 2019 to 1.3 million in 2022. 83% of these were caused by hepatitis B and 17% by hepatitis C. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says the report is troubling. The report gives a list of actions to help advance a public health approach to viral hepatitis. This includes, among many others, expanding access to testing and diagnostics, strengthening primary care prevention efforts, and engaging affected communities and civil society. Rosel Feria, Washington, D.C. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Meanwhile, in Canada's most populous city, an alarming increase of Mpox cases prompts the city to encourage residents to get vaccinated against the disease. Yolanda Espiras reports.
Toronto Public Health, or TPH, has confirmed an increase in cases of Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, that the city is opening vaccination clinics to combat this spread. Mpox is a virus that spreads from person to person through contact with infected lesions, skin blisters, body fluids, or respiratory secretions, according to Toronto Public Health. Clothing and bedding that have been contaminated can also transmit the virus. Symptoms can start 5 to 21 days after exposure, which include fever, headache, muscle aches, exhaustion, and swollen lymph nodes. Rash, blisters, and lesions on the skin can appear and are painful. According to WHO, most Mpox symptoms go away on their own with medication, but it can be severe for some, such as newborn babies, children, pregnant women, and people with immune deficiencies. The Mpox vaccine is free and will not require a health card. The vaccine is most effective after 2 weeks. 2 doses of the vaccine is required. 2 Mpox vaccine clinics in downtown Toronto opened this week, with more clinics to open in the coming days. Dr. Eileen De Villa says that Mpox cases are not travel-related, which all the more emphasizes the importance of vaccination. Last month, the city of Toronto reported 21 confirmed cases of the virus. All of last year, only 27 cases of Mpox were reported. Yolanda Aspiras, Toronto, Ontario, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Extraordinary stories from Thomas I. Likeness today, from oxcart racing in Cambodia, to a wandering racehorse in a train station in Australia, to a street dog turned hero in Taiwan. All these and more on Correspondent at Large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. Lots of animal stories this week, but first, a nod to a century-old tradition in Germany's Lede village. Mail gets delivered there by boat. They've been doing that for 127 years now. The 53-year-old letter carrier, her name's Andrea Buhner. Andrea, she makes her daily rounds by boat, bringing letters and packages to the village's 150 residents. The service runs from April to October. The canal is frozen over in the winter. The 65 homes in Lede can't be reached by road, so everything comes and goes via these canals. Now, this tradition is even older. Oxcart racing takes place annually in Cambodia. It's been going on for centuries, you know. About a week ago, hundreds of people braved the scorching sun to watch 46 pairs of oxen take part in the competition. Cultural officials say they organized the oxcart race with the aim of preserving tradition. And that tradition stretches back hundreds of years. They want to see it going forward into future generations. Oxen, you know, played a big role in the lives of Cambodians. Many villagers still rely on the animals to plow their rice fields. But more and more, farmers are embracing modern agricultural methods and transportation, raising fears that the old ways of doing things could be lost. And then in Sydney, Australia, a racehorse, that's right, a racehorse lost its way and ended up at a suburban train station. You see the steed here on this security footage. Apparently the animal took off from a nearby stable, and as it trotted up and down the platform, it startled passengers. And when the train finally did arrive, it had to cruise through the station with its doors closed, just in case the horse tried to hitch a ride. Not sure if it had a ticket. After prowling the platform for 17 minutes, the horse's trainer arrived and loaded the bewildered animal into a trailer. From the endangered species file, footage from a wildlife camera in Indonesia shows a new Javan rhinoceros calf. Now, this is exciting news because these rhinos are one of the world's most endangered mammals. The calf was spotted in Ujung Kulon National Park. It's located in Indonesia's Java Island. Believed to be between 3 and 5 months old, the baby rhino was seen walking with his mother inside of the park. Now, this park is the last remaining wild habitat for Javan rhinos. After years of population decline, authorities believe there are 82 of these rare animals inside the sanctuary. You know, they once numbered in the thousands all across Southeast Asia, but they've been hard hit by rampant poaching and human encroachment on their habitats. And a former drug-sniffing dog who lost his job for being too friendly Well, he's now a hero, and that's because of his work with Taiwan rescue teams following that devastating earthquake earlier this month. Meet Roger. He's a Labrador dog. You see him at work here, where he spotted a victim buried under the rubble in Taiwan's Taroko National Park. His handler says Roger found that victim in just 5 minutes. The 8-year-old canine had been trained as a drug-sniffing dog as a pup, but his over-friendly attitude led to his firing. He then became a search and rescue dog. The soon-to-retire canine has won hearts in Taiwan for his boisterous nature. You know, he lunged at reporters' microphones during interviews, and he also destroyed a chew toy given to him after his mission. You know, I grew up with Labradors as a child, and they're great dogs, but they're not a good guard dog. They're just too good-natured. They're everybody's friend. And I'll be back in 7 days, and in the meantime, I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, Correspondent at Large, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In other news, Australia and Papua New Guinea have partnered up in furthering tourism by developing war memorials. Echo Hortaleza Quinola on Oceania at a Glance.
Papua New Guinea's Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, E.C. Henry Leonard, and Port Moresby Governor Parkop visit Sydney, Australia, to discuss with the Canada Bay City Council about developing war memorial sites in the capital. Australia and Papua New Guinea will invest in substantial projects such as Kokoda Trail Memorial Walkway and other historic war memorials in the National Capital District, extending to Central and Oro provinces. This collaborative endeavor underscores the importance of international cooperation in preserving historical narratives and fostering mutual understanding between Papua New Guinea and Australia.
From Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Echo Hortaleza Quinola, Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
The regular NBA season is winding down, and for the playoff-bound Clippers, facing a struggling Utah Jazz squad provided an easy opportunity to add another tick to their win column. In Los Angeles, California, Eva and Alan with the report.
Facing off against the Jazz, the Los Angeles Clippers look to improve, or at least defend, their fourth-seeded standing in the Western Conference.
And true to expectations, the Clippers delivered another loss to the underperforming Utah Jazz.
Early three-pointers helped LA jump out to a 13-2 lead. At around 4 minutes left in the first, Russell Westbrook entered the game, making his presence felt almost immediately with a quick layup. Westbrook, however, drew a technical for jawing at the official for a non-call on a play where he felt he was fouled. The second quarter started with the two teams trading threes fairly evenly. Around the 8-minute mark, number 10 Daniel Tice powered in an emphatic dunk, signaling a continuance of the Clipper onslaught. At halftime, the scoreboard read 75-42 in favor of the home team. After back-to-back drives by Terrence Mann, it appeared the Clippers eased off the gas pedal, allowing players like Chris Dunn to score on an uncontested breakaway dunk. But all would end well for Clipper Nation as Russell Westbrook responded with a dunk of his own, followed by a corner three from Norman Powell. The third ended with Clippers still on top, 104-79. For the Jazz, the last 12 minutes couldn't have ended quickly enough. As it stood, their final score of 102 points wouldn't have been able to beat LA even if the Clippers stopped scoring for the remainder of the contest. Clippers soundly defeat the Jazz 131-102.
In his press conference, Coach Luke credited his team's tenacity on the defensive end.
Defense has been holding us up, and so I know, like I said, offensively we're going to be a good team and we can make shots. You know, we haven't shot the ball as well as we wanted to, but defensively is what's carried us over these last, like you said, 6 or 7 games.
Coming from a different perspective, Coach Hardy spoke to reporters about the impending end of his team's season and the outlook they expected from his players despite their struggles.
It doesn't matter that we're eliminated. There's 6 games left. You have to improve as a player. Teams are watching. And you're getting real minutes right now in an NBA game, and that's very important.
The Jazz and Clippers will meet a final time before the playoffs, but regardless of that outcome, Utah will be shelved for the rest of the NBA season.
While Los Angeles, barring any major lapses, are already gearing up for a shot at a championship run. Reporting from the Crypto.com arena, Evan Allen, Los Angeles, California. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Before letting you go, here's our photo of the week. This is a cherry blossom themed installation in Washington, D.C.'s city center. Catch the real ones around the tidal basin before they leave us for the next season. Thank you, Ralph Cornell, for this photo. Thank you all for joining us again. If there are stories or topics you want us to share with you, just comment below. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and X at Eagle News Live. I am AJ Gonzalez. We live in extraordinary times. Stay happy and healthy, everyone.